Welcome to With the First Pick, where we're going team by team to build a perfect 7-round mock draft. Who's on the clock today? We're breaking down the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their biggest needs, best fits, and sleeper picks that can make their draft. And by the time we're done, we'll have a complete blueprint for how they can dominate draft weekend. That's Mike Renner. I'm Ryan Wilson. It is time to get on the clock. Let's build a perfect mock draft. And the mock draft machine, Mike Renner invented. PFF, what is up? All right, Mike, here we go. First up, pick 19. The Bucs have 6 picks, and producer Striker's with us. He is a Buccaneers fan. He says every time he sees a mock draft, Jalen Walker is the pick here. What are you thinking for the Buccaneers in pick 19?
They're a tough team to draft for because they don't have a lot of needs, right? I think they're good at a lot of positions. One position that would qualify as a need, in my opinion, and also has PFF's top available player, my top available player at this point in time, would be safety. I do think Malaki Starks is that good. I don't know if you're in agreement with me there, but I thought you were. And like, it just feels like if you have Antoine Winfield and Malaki Starks, that's going to be a difficult defense to create big plays on.
Yeah, Christian Etienne is the listed as free safety right now, and he was a fun player coming out of Rutgers, I believe. Either undrafted or a late round pick. He's a good football player, but I don't think anyone would confuse him for Malaki Starks. I'm fine going with Malaki Starks because I think the linebacker class is interesting. There are a lot of athletes there, but I feel like the safety class, depending on what you're looking for in terms of scheme fit, could drop off pretty quickly. So I vote for Malaki Starks if you're on board with Malaki Starks.
I'm on board. Let's do it.
Producer Striker, you okay with that?
Yes, I just want to say, usually it was Jihad Campbell who goes first, not Jalen Walker.
Oh, my fault. Excuse me. Thank you for the clarification.
Oh, all good.
Didn't mean to upset Buccaneers fans. All right, pick 53 here, round 2. So we got our safety. Cornerback could be a need, linebacker, edge rusher, offensive lineman, any number of directions we can go. What do you think, Striker? Let me ask you about this guy before we get going here. Carson Swessinger sitting there, UCLA linebacker. Mm-hmm. I like him. I don't love him as much as other people. Okay. What are your thoughts on Carson and maybe whether he makes sense here?
He's my LB2. I have him right around 50 on my draft board. I think he's going to crack my final top 50. I love his potential. You know, how good he was in one season as a starter. Yeah. And I love him as a blitzer. And for Todd Bowles, if you're going to his defense, you better be able to blitz. So I do think, at least from a fit perspective, he makes a lot of sense.
We can look around. I just wanted to get your thoughts on Carson before we pull the trigger for sure. Unless you, if he's your guy, he's your guy. But I'll give you the final say.
Who else? I think the other position where they could definitely stand to add somebody is edge rusher. You know, Hassan Reddick is slated to start right now. That's kind of your 1-year rental. At this point in time, though, looking at that board, I love David Walker. I think he's the top available edge for me, but knowing how this is, you can get him later. I think you're going to be able to get that guy later. I love Olu Oladejo for that scheme. Again, for this one, I think you can maybe get him later, maybe real life, not so much. So considering the linebacker position is a lot thinner than others, I think I might just go linebacker and go Swessinger here.
Oh, let's do it. By the way, our guy Jared Ivey was up there as available edge rusher. He ran in the 5.09, I believe, which really bugs me out.
He had the Michael Bennett combine. Remember Michael Bennett coming out of Texas A&M? They were almost like exact same size too. 274 pounds. Michael Bennett went over 5 seconds in the 40. Had one of the worst combines you've ever seen. His RAS score was like 1. Never looked like it on tape with Seattle, right? Never. Exactly. I mean, he was drafted by the Bucs actually, so it never looked like it with the Bucs. Never looked like it with Seattle. No clue how that happened. Hopefully, Ivy has a similar career because that was a tough one for him.
Yeah, he had a great fall too. So, not a great combine. That's okay. There's time to make up for that. All right, we're at pick 84. And remind me again who we have. We have Swessinger, and who else did we get?
Malaki Starks.
Malaki. Okay. All right. So the defense is coming together. And what are you thinking here? Because let's see, corner could be a possibility. We haven't gotten edge yet. Could go D line if we wanted to, or excuse me, offensive line if we wanted to.
I mean, Jonah Savaiinaea sitting there for us. There's no real needs. I think we hit the needs, right? Corner is probably the one other where you could address, but like their starting 3 is their starting 3. You're not finding a guy who's beaten out Zion McCollum, Jamel Dean, Tyke Smith at this point in the draft. That's your starting 3. You could obviously get a fourth guy in there. So I think corner or just O-line depth, because obviously you're always in the market. Everyone's always in the market for offensive line depth. So I'm intrigued by Savi Naya.
Where are you going to play him? Just in
Probably,
general, not necessarily in this team.
I think guard. He just feels more like a guard. But I mean, like all his testing numbers suggested he could be a tackle.
Thank you. I love how we move all these guys inside just because it's like something to say. I would try. Would you at least try him at right tackle?
Yeah, I mean the Bucks moved or not moved, but Luke Gedeke was a guy that everyone said coming out. He's a guard. He's a guard. He's a guard. Dude's been pretty darn good at right tackle, so they don't really give a darn about that.
Yeah. Yep. Although Graham Barton moved from left tackle to center, but everyone knew that, including Graham Barton, probably when he was a junior in high school. All right, that's fine. Yeah. Jonas Avenaya, I like him a lot. I think this is great value here. I pick 84 for sure. All right, heading into day 3 here. Pick 121. Malaki Starks, Carson Schlesinger, Jonas Avenaya, headed to Tampa Bay in this 7-round mock draft. All right. Let's see. Always when the quarterbacks come up, I always have to double check who the backups are. So Kyle Trask, I think, re-upped on a 1-year deal. They have Michael Pratt out of Tulane. We'll see how long he lasts there. Was he drafted by Green Bay or signed by Green Bay?
Pratt was signed.
Okay. So he somehow went undrafted after. I certainly thought he'd go higher than that, but this isn't a Michael Pratt podcast. So what are you thinking here, Mike?
I think the one position we haven't touched yet, D-line, that I think they would want to address. I'm curious to see who the top D linemen are available at this point in time. DTs.
JJ Pegues out of Ole Miss, who can do a little. They could put him and Vita Vea in the backfield if you wanted to. That would be fun because JJ has a little rushing ability on his.
He does. I'm intrigued. What are your thoughts on Pegues? I know you liked him a little bit, right?
Yeah, he's so twitched up. It's. I would like to see more consistency. I just don't think he's played a lot at that position. I think he was a running back coming out like something crazy, at least until his high school career. I think he'd be a situational guy, but I do love his athleticism. That really sticks out to me because it looks like it gets pretty thin.
I think the top guy on my board amongst those is Tyler Barron out of Miami.
Okay.
Not high. None of these guys I have as like big steals at this point in time. But
I like Barron Sorrell out of Texas as well, but that depends on your flavor of ice cream. But I can go. Savion Jones is interesting. Not a great athlete, but a high motor guy. I'll defer to you. Whatever you think makes the most sense.
Let's go Tyler Barron here.
All right, let's do it.
Off the edge.
Tyler Barron took part in the longest pro day in human civilization last week. So he survived that. He can survive the NFL. All right, 2 more picks to go. Pick 157 here in the middle of the 5th round. Quinn Ewers is sitting there. Do we want a developmental guy after? I just asked that question when we see these quarterbacks pop up.
Would they? They would kick Pratt to the curb easily. Ewers interesting. I think Quincy Riley's interesting too.
Yeah, Quincy's a good player.
He's a good corner, and that's how I like this corner class. I feel like once you get to the 4th, 5th, I almost like those guys as much as the guys who are going to go like 2nd, 3rd.
And the argument for Quincy Riley is that he will actually play, whereas Quinn Ewers will not play. And he might be undersized, Quincy, but he plays the little edge to him. I think he tested. We'll have to double check. But yeah, let's do Quincy Riley, cornerback out of Louisville. All right, one more pick to go here. Pick 235. Middle of the
Sadly, the Bucks not going to be in on this running back class. I don't think. Unless they're willing to kick Rashad White to the curb, but I just don't think they're going to be players. Yeah, not a bad problem to have though when Bucky Irving's as good as he was.
Yeah, and again, a day 3 guy. I think it might have been the 5th round, or 4th or 5th for sure, just to show you can get those guys wherever. All right.
Ooh, do you want your guy here? They could use a tight end too.
I quickly looked down to see the depth chart. So Cade Otton had a good season. Then Payne Durham, who I like coming out of Purdue, he was fun, but he's a different type player than what Rondé Gadsden the second would give you in sort of a big slot is essentially what we're talking about. He'll try to block a little bit. I don't hate it. I mean, he's Mike Evans 2.0 at this point in terms of speed down the field. Yeah. He might be able to beat Mike Evans in the foot race. I don't know. I like a Rondé, but I'll let you.
Go Rondé. I think he's a nice second tight end in that offense.
Yeah, I love it.
Get some speed.
You're going to throw 50 touchdowns this year. Love it. All right, let's see what the old recap is. Malaki Starks, safety in the 1st round. And we're at the point in the process where Malaki is getting pushed down the boards, even though he's still every bit as good as he was in January. But that's a great pick here. Carson Schlesinger, going to slip inside Mike Renner's top 50, gets picked here at 52. Jonas Avenaya, The right tackle maybe plays guard at the next level out of Arizona. Tyler Barron, edge rusher out of the U. Quincy Riley, cornerback, defensive back out of Louisville. And finally, Rondé Gatson the second. Tight end, big slot, whatever you want to call him, the final pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that wraps up the perfect Tampa Bay draft class. Make sure to subscribe to NFL on CBS on YouTube and download With the First Pick wherever you get your podcasts. Stay tuned for more perfect mock drafts because we're hitting all 32 teams.